Greetings and welcome to our Southwest Middle School Orchestra Spring 2021 virtual concert. At the time that I'm recording this, we are 1 full year into making these virtual concerts. I think it's safe to say all of us would prefer the in-person version, and we will get back to that soon. But there are some silver linings. One of those being all of us, adults and students, know a whole lot more about the recording arts at this point. That said, I would not be sad if I didn't see another camera or microphone for a really long time, except for the one that records our in-person concerts. And there's another silver lining that I've noticed, that our students, a lot of the time they're at home and they're working along with tapes that I've made or recordings that I've made. They have had to get really good this year at playing along with someone else. So their rhythm has gotten more consistent and their tuning has gotten more consistent. And I think we're going to see an improvement when we get back together in those big groups in those two areas of their playing. Sometimes when we're all in that big group, it's a little bit easier to maybe hide if you don't know something as well, but they haven't been able to do that on these virtual concerts. So I think that's one positive thing that's come out of this. It's not to say the past year and a half hasn't had its trials and tribulations. Tech can be can be wonderful, and it can be your greatest enemy sometimes. Zoom is wonderful for people trying to have a conversation, but it was never meant to carry musical instruments. So it was tough sometimes for us over Zoom, but we persevered. And I just have to be honest, this year, I've never seen so many broken instruments. So we're going to have to learn about that again next year. But, I've spent the tears and we're moving on now. There's also, I know there's normally a lot of stuff that 7th and 8th graders get to do with the travel and the competitions. And I am sorry that they didn't get to participate in that. But I have faith that those things will come back for them, like our 8th graders that are moving on. I know they're going to have opportunities in high school. Our 7th graders, who are going to be our 8th graders now, I know we've already started to plan for their next year to incorporate some of those things back in. Learning an instrument is really hard work. Learning an instrument without a teacher by your side, I just can't imagine. I've always had a teacher with me, either a private teacher or my band teacher. So I just congratulate our 6th graders on doing what they were able to do this year, learning how to play their instruments for all intents and purposes over Zoom. I always say at every in-person concert that 6th grade is like this miracle that happens, that they learn how to play an instrument, and it's just even more so this year. We did have some students who got a little bit of in-person time, but the foundations had already been set at that point. So I just, I just cannot believe what they were able to do this year. It's really awesome for them. So you saw what our 6th graders were able to do in our winter concert, and they were just presenting the rudimentary skills of being a string player. Well, here is the 2021 Southwest 6th grade playing their spring concert contribution, Dragon Slayer. how great was that? I'll remind our audience that sixth grade spent at least half a year, more than half a year, at home, with us just having, the short Zoom classes every other day. And I got to see a few of them in person for a few weeks before we made this recording. So I am super proud of them that they were able to carry on the tradition of playing Dragon Slayer in sixth grade, as we always do. So now we're moving on to our second year players, our seventh graders. These guys have just blown me away this year with their attitudes and their work ethic. All year. They have just been consummate professionals all year long, and I know you're going to hear that. They've improved beyond my expectations, and again, I feel bad that they have missed out on some of the trips and competitions, but for these guys, they're going to be at it again next year, and I know they're going to do awesome. So like I said, we've already started planning some of those trips and things next year, and seventh grade, now eighth graders, they're going to be back on it again. So in seventh and eighth grade, I kind of put it to the kids and said, what would you really like to play? I told them the website where I usually purchase music from, and our students looked through music that was appropriate for them. That was like my only rule was we've got to be able to perform it, so it's got to be appropriate for your grade level. And this was one of the selections that came up. So this was student selected. This is Ludwig's Dance Party. It's super cool. It's based on Ludwig's Fifth Symphony. Ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. Most of us know that little theme. Well, the arranger took it and made it into like a little, I don't know if it's a disco beat, a little rock beat to it. So it's pretty cool. So here is Ludwig's Dance Party by our seventh grade. 1, 2, ready, play. So I should have given you a little warning before that one. Be careful, it's a total earworm. I also need to thank Mr. Matthew Bratton for playing drum set on that piece for us. Very appreciative of his time. So finally this evening, we are moving on to our eighth graders. And this is really bittersweet. Eighth grade, at this point, it's been a luxury. They had about a year and a half of in-person instruction, and it's kind of strange to me that in-person instruction is even a thing that we say now, but It is. So the eighth graders did get to do a little bit of competition, a little bit of travel when they were in seventh grade. We didn't get to do an overnight, but I know that they have opportunities ahead for them in high school. So these students, I am proud of these students who stuck it out. It is not easy to play an instrument at all anyway. And these kids stayed in for all these 3 years. They didn't hang it up to go do something else that could have been easier to do online instead of play an instrument. And they hung in there. They're fine musicians. They're conscientious human beings. They have an enormous capacity for empathy. So it's not just the music that's important. Whenever you're studying an instrument and getting to play along with other people, you learn all of these other skills. So I am just so proud of them and everything that they do, and I know they're going to be awesome whenever they go to high school. Every year, we have students who audition for the CMS Honors Orchestra, and this year, even though it was a video that was submitted online, we had 2 students, both 8th graders, who submitted and got in to the CMS Honors Orchestra. Both of these ladies were also in last year. We have Trina Bowie on cello and then Sahar Sayam on bass. And I want to say congratulations to both of you for, once again, getting into CMS Honors Orchestra, attending the online clinic after you do online school all week, and then making a really wonderful performance. So congratulations, ladies. I am just so proud of you for everything you do. You know, I love you both to bits, and I'm really, really going to miss both of you guys very much. So, as I mentioned before, I canvassed 7th grade. I also canvassed 8th grade and asked them to look for pieces from the music company on a piece that would be really cool for us to play for our final concert. And this was one of the suggestions from 8th grade. So this is Feel It Still, as recorded by Portugal the Man, played by our 8th grade strings. And again, Mr. Matthew Bratton is joining us on percussion. Was really cool, and I should have warned you again. That one will get stuck in your head too. And if you're the orchestra teacher, Ludwig's Dance Party and then Feel It Still just kind of play on a loop going back and forth forever and ever and ever. So we're coming to the close of our concert, and learning does not happen in a vacuum. I am not the all-knowing, all-being of everything. So we have a bunch of people who help us make this orchestra program possible. First, I have to say thank you to Mr. Eric Thompson. He is a wonderful teacher, string teacher in CMS, but he also happens to be our bass teacher at Southwest. Very fortunate for that. He is the one who actually, you probably saw him in one of the videos. He is a bass player, and he came over and recorded cello and the bass play-along tracks that the kids listen to and make their tracks along with. So I'm very grateful for him. And he also did some bass coaching for us earlier in the year. So thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Matthew Bratton has been playing percussion with us for a couple of years now, and I'm very thankful to him. At the time of this recording, he's just graduated from Winthrop. So all the best to you, Mr. Bratton. Good luck, and we know you are going to do awesome things. So thank you. Also, I have to say thank you to the performing arts team. I don't know how we did it this year. Like, trying to learn online, performing arts are meant to be in person. They're meant to be experienced and worked through, human communication person to person. So, but we did it. We put on some performances, and I'm really proud of us and our team. I also have to say thank you to our outgoing treasurer, Miss Megan Peters, who's been our treasurer for 2 years. I just, there are some times when I know doing the treasurer was like a full-time job. When you're planning a Disney trip, it's like a full-time job. So I can't say thank you enough to her, and sending a big hug out for you, Miss Peters. Thank you. And finally, our collective thanks has to go to Mr. Mike. If you watched last year's concert, I made like a glittery award for him. I didn't do that this year. But he's been behind all of our concerts. He helped out CMS with the graduation project last year. I've learned so much from him this year about the tech stuff, how to put sound together and concerts together, and he's taught me how to do like the big boy and girl recording stuff, not just recording on your phone, and the editing software. Not every school has been doing these performances. A lot of schools just said, we're just going to learn on Zoom, and that's going to be that, and Southwest Orchestra did not take that route. I felt it was important for us to have something to show for our efforts. And I guess another silver lining is the kids will be able to go back and watch this, 10, 20 years from now and say, I did that. It was really, really hard, but I was able to do that. And have this, I'm going to say, tangible thing. Well, the reason any of that happened was because of Mr. Mike. So we are very, very appreciative of all that he's done. Also, for this concert in particular, we were able to get him into school to do recordings. So the kids not only got to do recordings, but and some of our more inquisitive students got to see a little bit of behind the scenes of what it's like to be a recording, be a musician recording, but also go behind the scenes and see what it's like to be a recording engineer. There were a few of them peeking over his shoulder looking at what we were doing. So hopefully we sparked some interest in that. And Mr. Mike, thank you very much for everything that you've done. We're coming to the last piece on our concert, and many of the ideas for this concert were student-directed, including the idea for this final piece. So it was suggested somewhere along the way by the kids that we do a final piece that involved everybody in the orchestra. So we picked a piece that all of us could perform, Impulse by Brian Balmages. And this video right now will be 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, a big combined video of everybody playing Impulse. even on the video, that was a pretty massive sound. And I will recommend, if you're just watching on your phone or on a computer, if you ever have any opportunity to listen on like a bigger sound system, stereo system, you should. There's just a lot more that you'll hear, just richness of sound if you're able to get a little bit better sound system. So we're at the end of our concert. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, kids, thanks for hanging in there. I have to say thank you. You guys did the unthinkable this year. You learned an instrument without a teacher, so congratulations to you. If you are watching this at the end of 2021 academic year, so if you're watching around school getting out, spring 2021, then I need to put a plug in for our last Spirit Night of the year on Wednesday, June 2nd from 5 to 9 at Jim and Nick's right next to school, so the Steel Creek Jim and Nick's. Dine-in, carry-out, drive-through. They're doing one more Spirit Night for us. Would be very appreciative to see you guys. And I keep telling the orchestra kids, we haven't really gotten to do anything together all year, so I would absolutely love to see everybody who feels comfortable coming out. I would love to see you guys in person before we all head our separate ways for the summer. And then I'm going to do one more plug, and that is for Amazon Smile. It is super easy to use. It's basically like a shopping cart, except on Amazon. You can get all of the same products that you would purchase anyway, but if you type in Amazon Smile and look for Southwest Orchestra in Charlotte, North Carolina, we'll get a little percentage back. And I actually did it at the time of this recording. I did that yesterday. Bought some stuff with Amazon Smile and made sure it was going to the orchestra boosters. So you guys, thank you so much for everything you've done this year. Thanks for watching. If you're watching at the beginning of summer, enjoy your long summer this year. Everybody be safe, and much love to you all. See you all later.